fitting in is a very tiring work. And I'm like, why do I fit in? I don't have to play poker to fit in. I don't have to go to happy hours after work because I have a small baby. I will rush to catch the train. So what do I do?
Welcome to this podcast where you're going to learn the strategies, the tactics, and also gain the confidence to speak your mind unapologetically at work and in your career so that you can get ahead faster, you can have more impact, be a better leader, and be respected as yourself authentically. And I'll be your host, Ivna Curry. I'm the CEO and founder of AssertiveWay.com, INSEAD MBA, and a Forbes contributor. Now let's get started. Hello, Sathi. I'm so happy that we finally managed to get together and have this chat. It's been in our plans for a while.
Absolutely. It's so nice to be here and to get to see you again, Ivna.
Yeah, so for those in the audience, Sathi Chowdhury is a director of data engineering in risk tech and Capital One. She's also worked as an engineer at Yahoo, Oracle, and other tech companies in the past. And, it sounds like a pretty exciting career that you've had so far. And I'm sure there's plenty more coming up. You were just sharing with me just now a little bit about what was moving you throughout your career. What was, the mindset and the things that were kind of propelling you forward. Could you share a little bit more about yourself and a little bit about, your mindset towards your career, what you were just sharing?
Hey, Ivna, thanks for the introduction. And I would love to share. But if I share from my childhood, the education was a very important part of my bringing up. And my mom and dad, they were all about that you have to earn a high degree and you're going to become a college principal. So they used to pump me up and also show me a North Star that you have to study, you have to do PhD and things like that. So I got in college with physics honors, and then naturally, if in my side of the world, the education system had this option of moving to a BTech if I were, if I did high first class or whatever, right? So in physics, I was first class fifth in the entire board. And so I got into computer science engineering from after doing my 3 years of bachelor's. And so the bravery and the boldness was told to me, but I was a shy kid. I was kind of an introvert, and I was good in studies, and I was loving the computer engineering. I knew that I have to go to the world and do job and work, because research was by that time I knew that I'm not going for PhD. I would love to go and work in industry. So when I came out of college, and in BTech computer science was another 3 years. So when I came out of college, it was work. And I knew that how little I knew about the real life problem and how to solve that through programming. So I was really passionate about programming. And back in the days, we started with C++, and then later in life moved to Java. But what I'm trying to say is that there was no shortcut at that time to take. But in childhood, I saw women leaders like Indira Gandhi, and my mom, I had short hair. My mom would say, "My Indira Gandhi." She would address me as that. And, they would always pump me up, saying that you will become this one day and all that. Right? So I had a dream that I'll become something and someone. But in the real life, it was a lot of hard work. And it was like that dream of me as a leader was buried in my thing. And there was no, I didn't have an answer to that calling of that. But so it was long years of hard work. And when I came to America, and that was in 2000, I was in Bangalore for 2 years working in software, and then came to America and also became a Java developer, Java and ETL developer. basically, I genuinely wanted to learn. And I realized that, for me to become someone in that next level, what I have to do is build on my skill and work hard. So probably it's because I'm a woman as well. I realized that, or it's a natural instinct that I would have to work hard and let one day my work will speak for itself and a magic will happen and I'll get promotion, right? So that's my journey of a of an introvert and excellence seeking uh, journey individually. Like I'll become so good that everybody will notice me.
Yeah. And I think that's sometimes we, especially as women, or if we're an underrepresented group, we feel like we have to do that. We have to almost be better and distinguish ourselves and have such a high level of excellence to be able to even be considered to be noticed by others, which it's a lot of pressure as well, especially as someone who is often, and I am too, currently, I would say I'm ambivert, but for most of my life I was introverted, and up to my, I would say, mid-20s, very shy. So I relate to a lot of the things that you shared, and with the parents wanting me to be a PhD as well. So I relate to all of that, which is very interesting to hear. Now, what role do you think that speaking your mind, especially in a work context, being able to express yourself and fully in your ideas and your thoughts and your boundaries and your desires and your wishes and your disagreements, your perspectives, what role did that play in your career?
I was aware that this is a struggle for me and I want to overcome it. And that it was an internal frustration that I'll be in meetings and I knew about the subject already. And there is a meeting going on and with either peers or either, there'll be like a VP of the group and everything. And people will be sharing ideas. And it's like, there is no one is going to hold you accountable for ideas, right? And I had a lot of ideas. And if I was in the fear of that it's not perfect. And if anything is not perfect, I would be very shy about it. So that was the awareness of my struggle, that why do I do that? And why do I miss the chance of speaking up? And that's where it started. And then I have had I've been very lucky to have bosses where I was able to speak up that, hey, this is my struggle, because I was very comfortable in interpersonal skill, one-to-one, but in a room full of people, I was in the fear of getting judged. I was like, everyone will know that my idea is not perfect or whatever, right? So that was just, it's all made up in my head that I was stuck with, because I thought I'm good. So if I have to give an idea, that should be the best idea. So I was like, my own devil was coming in my way, so that was in need of speaking up. But then also, I think gradually what helped me was that I found out that I became very good at the work. With more days passing by, my domain knowledge was growing. So I felt like how you go to gym and you develop muscle, it's all hard work. And then once you have the muscle, you look in the mirror and you're like, I'm awesome. That's what happened to me, that any production releases that struggling through a problem, I would go and smell a problem. I said, no, that's not the problem. Do this, it'll fix it. That confidence came in from that muscle of knowing things technically in the ground or on the ground. So I started speaking up. Because then it was organic to me. Then it was like, it was more of a technical knowledge sharing, speaking up. But the habit of speaking up then started.
Interesting. Okay, so what I'm hearing is you first, in order to overcome that challenge that you weren't speaking up as much as you knew you wanted to speak up, because you're getting feedback from your manager as well that you had to speak up more in these meetings with many, many people. You first became aware of it, what was going on, and that it was nonsense. Your self-talk, that your idea wasn't good enough because you're scared of judgment. But then you chose the things that you were most comfortable with, which was the technical area, and started speaking up on the things that you were most comfortable, most confident about. Eventually that spilled over to areas that maybe weren't technical or you weren't as comfortable, but you developed the skill of speaking up in the meeting through something that you were the most confident about. I like that.
Yeah, I think it started with a smaller group where I created that trust between people where I was comfortable. Basically, the habit of speaking itself was missing in my character. I was like almost like a nerdy kid who would like to be left out in a corner and do her work and get done, right? So that was a change where I feel like I made like few like a cohort where people liked me, and I could see that in their eyes that they trusted me. And so that's where it started, that I started influencing them with my ideas and also speaking up. And I remember this, someone said that let's argue, because argument is a way to build trust.
Oh,
And
interesting.
I love that. And I'm like, then, that makes me more comfortable to say, no, that will not work. Or how about this? If you give me an idea and I don't agree with, I don't have to feel defeated. It came from that place of trust where I said, I like your idea, but in that other situation, this may not work. So I kind of started learning that speaking up more instead of staggering it up inside my heart. And I'm like, if I don't say it, it's all blind spots everywhere. And I also have blind spots. So let me exercise trust with people and let me argue with them in a way so that it's not sounding like an argument. So I was overcoming with my own emotion of how to build relationship at workplace, right? And that helped me really. That helped me to be the, at any point I will start in a smaller group. But my presentation skill and, in a 15, 20 people team, the actual preparing PowerPoint and throwing that idea, it was still a weakness. I'm talking about like maybe 15 years ago.
Yes.
And so I clearly remember that was my next thing to start on. And I went and told my boss that I now feel very comfortable in a smaller group. And I do
Smaller
great.
group, how many people?
Maybe 6, 7 people.
6, 7 people. And with peers, like coworkers or superiors as well?
Peers, my boss's peers, I was fine.
Okay.
And cross team people, bringing people from other teams and brainstorming, I was all good in that.
How long did it take for you to go from awareness there was an issue and starting to work through that to actually be comfortable in these smaller groups with anyone?
I think 1.5 year-ish.
1.5 year. All right.
Yeah, it was a work in progress. Yeah, I think it was also that I had opportunities where this scale of the work I was doing was getting bigger every day. It was no more like my own task that will get me the things. I was doing more end-to-end implementation and a lot of production monitoring and things like that. So that pushed me probably to be more upfront.
Nice. And then you decided that the next step would be to do presentations, and you had that conversation with your boss. Okay, so what happened?
Yeah, and I said, give me opportunity and let me fail. I know I will fail miserably, but I want to try. And how bad it can be. And he and I used to talk and we're like, hey, what do you think can happen? What worse can happen? And that how bad can you bomb? And who is going to die from it? No one. Nobody cares. And we see presenters with different accent and mumble and jumble all the time. So just know that there is no like fear behind being horrible, because embrace the imperfect. You might, and I was like just using a lot of filler word, and I was like, yeah, these are my problem, and I'm soft spoken. My accent has a like soft R and things like that, and of course, like I knew that I can improve, but the hope was like still on with that. I will be starting from a place where I might have to allow myself to be a little bit like me. And it was like, take it or leave it, kind of like. So I was bringing some arrogance in me artificially, that what if I go out there? And what if I look like? And so I used to do this mirror work that, hey, let me see how I look and how I talk. Let me realize that. So it was a little bit of, calming myself down with how bad can I be?
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. That's very intentional. And you yourself worked your own mindset to get over the barriers and thought, who cares? For me, it was also so liberating to start thinking about who cares? Like no one cares. I'm the only person who really cares. Nobody cares about me, my performance, what I'm doing, what I'm not doing. And in the beginning, we might feel bad about that thought, but like you said, at the end of the day, it's actually quite liberating, because then we can fail, we can mess up. I'm soft-spoken, I still am, and I'm still fighting against my soft-spokenness because people don't interpret it well. My ums, ahs, and ers, and uhs, and all of those things, it's still something that I have to consciously avoid saying. And so it's beautiful to hear. And I'm sure a lot of the people that are listening are going to think, okay, that's me too. Like, yeah, I have an accent and I'm self-conscious about it sometimes. But like you said, just by going out there and saying, I got to start somewhere, and who cares? Let me fail and I'll get better and better. You can't get worse by exposing yourself and getting that practice. You can only get better.
Yeah. And the fun part is that actually when you are in the spot and you're nervous and everything, and you're like even nervous with 30 colleagues who are just like you, even there you are nervous. You think everybody is better than you. Like this tremendous imposter kicking in, and you come out of it, and everybody comes and says, you had a lot of content that was amazing, this and that, and it's like it was so good, Sathi. And then I was like, okay. And I would do those more. I would really want to keep my feet grounded, even though I'm practicing a soft skill, but keep my feet grounded on a hard skill, because I thought content is everything. That was in my head that, oh, if I just stood up and spoke about something meaningful, that was what my purpose was. That so there was like that I have to learn too much and synthesize it and prepare an awesome thing. And so that was another problem though, like, that oftentimes we feel like, oh, for this we want to present to people, this is such a small idea. But there are some people, and I have like seen in my work life, there are some people that they present that small idea fundamentally in such a beautiful way that is very empowering. So that was another problem for me, that I was not doing it enough, because I was like, I would have to gather materials and I would have to like master in it, and like as if like it was a writing book project. So overdoing it, sort of.
Yeah, we tend to overdo it when we really want to be ultra prepared for something. And often we're never as prepared as we would like. And then we see people just wing it without much content at all. And yet they, like you said, they say in such a beautiful way. And sometimes just an analogy, when I'm socially with other people, and maybe I did this amazing international trip, and I visited all these amazing things, and I have this great experience, and I don't share it because I don't think it's interesting enough to the other person. But then someone else shares the story of the burger that they ate the last day, and they make it sound like the most amazing thing ever, and everyone is interested in their burger. And that's when I think, you know what, I do have something to say, and it's up to me to make sure that people listen.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
and
And
so I think that's your situation.
I had a colleague in Capital One who said that I just love all the things that you say. But number one, your storytelling. I want you to like tell more stories because you have so much experience. And I love that. You are introducing a topic to someone, and if you tell it in a way that it's like a story, because of the problem you are solving and how you are solving and what will happen. If you, I think the kids in America, they learn that storytelling much more early in life, and I didn't. So that changed a lot of my view on how to structure the presentation or how to even bring more fun into the influencing part.
Yeah, and that's a huge skill, right? So you were taking on feedback and realizing what you did well, and then doubling down on that to improve your presentation skills. And so how long did it take for you to feel like you really made a huge improvement in your presentation?
Probably 3 years or so to feel like I was cruising, and now I'm like, okay, bring it on. That took me time, 3-4 years minimum, from the time that I was talking about. Like we went back 15 years ago, right? And then so I felt like that it's a constant journey, and there were really good presenters who I admired, and when I talked to them about their tips and their journey, they all said that it takes so much practice to be a good presenter. So it's not like something that'll come naturally to anyone. And so it's like, really? And so I realized that there are a lot of hard work practicing in front of the mirror, and the CEOs, spend years getting trained to be a talker. Like, there are statisticians, CEOs, and completely like, um, CEOs like us, you and me, who had been shy in their life as well. So they must have done this investment for years. So I was being kind to myself. I'm like, no worries, I will reach there. What I need to focus is work. And so my work was getting more interesting, and I was scaling up. Like I was really doing, leading big teams by then. And so the content was no more a struggle for me. But presentation, storytelling, all of that felt like that, okay, it's not explicit anymore. It's about believing in something and being able to express that. And so I probably was connecting with my soul and mind more as an individual and developing my own, owning my own personality helped me then to become a little calm about it.
Infusing your personality in your storytelling, your presentations. And 3 to 4 years isn't that long, actually, because some people spend their entire lives, like you said, learning and developing those presentation skills, because it does take a long time. But what was special about how you did it is that you were proactively, you went to your boss and you said, hey, I want to develop this skill. Please give me the opportunities to be able, and then you kept on looking for opportunities to present, and you didn't say no to opportunities to make presentations. I think that is very distinctive. And then using that to improve, to learn, to take feedback, to find your own style, and to get to the point where you were comfortable and improving your skills significantly. That's huge. Most people don't do that. Most people don't proactively go and say, hey, this is what I want. I know I suck at it right now, but that's exactly why I want this opportunity. I want to learn. I want to develop. That takes a lot of courage.
It does. And then also, I think I could have done more, but I'm in a constant journey. Really, like I feel that the body language, the nonverbal communication, stopping and connecting with the audience, all of that, and people who give speeches and like the TED Talk kind of skills that you see, that there are so many fascinating, like really, it's about the way you deliver it, and it's about the way you ask powerful questions so that your audience is finding it engaging. And all of that I want to learn. I mean, I am on a path to learn that. I find it that the more comfort I have with my body, and the more comfort I have with the flow of words that's coming in my mind, and being able to control that. And so, and then plus, of course, you need practice before you go on a serious topic. Like today, I didn't practice at all.
Yeah, you're doing fantastic. And thank you so much for joining. I want to cover one more topic, which is something that you mentioned previously. You talked about how you used to feel like you were a misfit, you were a minority, and you were invisible. And that really struck a chord because a lot of people feel that way. I felt that way, like I was a misfit, I was invisible. So what did you do with that? And how are you able to break free from that?
I have worked in startups where if it is a 60 people engineering team, I was the only girl there. And so automatically I felt left out in many occasions. Hallway conversations, coffee chats. I felt that when I need to portray myself, and it was not a problem with my cultural background, because I grew up in an environment where I had a lot of friends who were boys. The class was full of boys. It was not me, I knew for sure, but it was me being aware and conscious that this environment is not inviting. It's like no one is making an effort to connect with me. If I tried connecting with different people, and I didn't feel like I belong to this place. And so if I would sit in the, in my my desk, and there would be two people, they were talking with each other, bypassing me from the discussion. So there were a lot of it was feeling excluded all the time. And so, of course, the answer was that me, as an introvert, I was like, okay, forget about it, and just work. How did I overcome again was the openly talk about, I pulled my boss in a room. I said, I want to talk to you. And this is completely a boys' club. I feel very excluded in here. And my voice was trembling when I was saying this, because I was emotionally frustrated. And he realized it. And I said, even if you mention, like you're giving accolades to people and giving credit, you say, and Sathi. Why do you do that? Is it conscious? Even if I feel like I'm a key contributor, I see my name at the last. Why do I come in your mind at the last? So I kind of started challenging that a little bit, because if the guy was, I felt that it was safe with him, and then sometimes I did it even if it is not safe. I felt like that I got to do it, because who knows, tomorrow there'll be another girl facing the same thing. Fitting in is a very tiring work. And I'm like, why do I fit in? I don't have to play poker to fit in. I don't have to go to happy hours after work because I have a small baby. I will rush to catch the train. So what do I do?
Yeah, that's a great point. It reminded me of one of my clients, a Muslim woman. She realized that a lot of the people were socializing and building the relationships during happy hour over drinks. She doesn't drink. And she had to go back home for her baby.
Yes.
So it's one of those things I get it. It's really frustrating. But once again, you demonstrated a lot of courage. That's a hard conversation. What was going through your mind? You said you were trembling. what fear did you have, or was there no fear? What was going through your mind? And then what happened after that conversation with your boss?
Yeah, the fear was that my boss will find it, he will deny it. That was the fear. Because that for me, I was living the truth. But how he will see it, how he'll admit it was my doubt. Because how culturally are we aware? If we are in that environment and we're creating that environment, maybe we're like not even seeing. So maybe I was invisible and my struggle was invisible to people. Because I was a good worker always. I was a good employee. I was a good performer.
All right. All right. So I'll quickly introduce you, but then I'll let you talk a little bit about yourself, and then we can get going. One thing. So your last name is Chowdhury. Chowdhury. Sathi Chowdhury. Okay. Hello, Sathi. And then so what did your boss say? How did he respond? And then what happened after that?
Yeah, he basically immediately apologized that if that's how you felt, he was definitely it. I mean, I was very fortunate to see that reaction, that he immediately recognized that that must be the case. If you have, because I was not a person who would ever complain about things. So this was one incident where I just came up with that emotional glitch that I was going through, and I said that I can give you more data if you want, and I'm going to collect it, and I'll see if we both can change our work environment in a way that it doesn't matter from what color, shape, and size we are of. So diversity and belonging was not even a thing in Bay Area then, but I feel that I was living it and I was trying to change. And you know, there are things that I found rewarding. Even in that culture, like you will always meet good people, you will always connect, but it also bothered me that how that would limit your willingness to influence, because you will really hold yourself back if you felt the people around you really didn't connect with you. Then it's both way, right? They are also not investing in you, you're also not investing in them.
Yeah, the connection is key. And you mentioned that earlier when you were looking into talking more in meetings, and you initially sought after a group of people where you could build trust, build that connection. And then you did that again with regards to, you know, being the only woman everywhere and being left out. And so you were presenting your boss with facts and data showing what was really happening, and also paving a better environment for future women who joined the group. And did things start to change?
It did to his, you know, I think he did his best to change his communication, but I doubt how much it changed the environment. And later in life, I have found better ways to go about it. Like, you know, we created on Women in Tech, one of the startup I worked, and the CTO had serious, you know, sincere investment into it. He used to come to our meetings. This startup that I was talking about, it was quite small and really didn't have that many women in it. But I at least have felt very grateful that my manager was trying to change it. As long as I was working in that startup, I really felt some changes in the way it was communicated. And I have had incidents where I was like, you know, I was recognized as one of the superstars, and there were times where I felt great for being recognized for the work I was doing. So it was always a balance of that, me doing good work, and it doesn't matter if someone talks to me in hallway or not. So ignoring it and being little blunt about it. That doesn't exist. At times I choosing to not think about it.
Yeah, so a series of things, because some of the things that you said, if someone doesn't talk to you in the hallway, then there's still a few things you can do and be blunt about it. But if someone puts you last, your name last in a project or something, that really makes us feel non-appreciated, not recognized for all the work, right? So
And
this
that was the same boss himself who was doing it because of
oh
unconscious bias.
yeah, the unconscious. It's
I,
tough to
I
fight
just
that.
challenged. Yeah, I challenged that.
And
No,
you challenged him, you helped him become aware of his own biases, which is huge. You didn't have a lot of people, like, a whole system training HR back, in the day, but you were able to make change and raise his awareness around this particular issue.
yeah,
And
I was very, very calm always, but I was bold in my own ways. I did things that were like a little bit of cliffhanging kind of thing. I was like, anything can go south, but I did it.
yeah, you're very bold, very courageous. I'm loving these stories. And ultimately, you also realize that, and this is something that is helpful for women or other minorities or underrepresented groups, which is to build one of these groups, right? Women's network or Asians network or African American network, and then get the support from maybe C-suite members like you guys got from the CTO to then support that and help improve some of those issues around diversity, equity, and inclusion, be noticed, not be as invisible, reduce the bias, and all of those issues that a lot of people face still today.
Yeah, and I feel that we have come a long way in the in the culture part in Silicon Valley. The other thing is it happened like very parallelly is the face of leadership or how a leader should look like. That idea was changing. We saw leaders of different kind. And so there were more openness, right? It was challenging our mind and then we were becoming more open. And that created a lot of space for a lot of women and a lot of minority leaders. And we felt that, okay, the path is clearing up.
On that positive note, that things have been improving. You've seen a lot of it in Silicon Valley. That was a wonderful conversation. I think that, I commend your bravery to actually speak up and share, and not only here in the podcast, but throughout your career and help in your own way pave the path and develop yourself, right? And make sure that your voice was heard in those meetings, through those presentations, in those environments where you were the only woman. And I think that's also a testament to your assertiveness as well as a woman. So thank you as well for sharing all these stories. I'm sure that it's inspired a lot of people.
Thank you, Ivna. It's so wonderful getting to spend this time with you on such a topic.
Yes.
That's close to my heart.
It's been an absolute honor to serve you today. And do you want to go deeper on how you can speak your mind with confidence at work, unapologetically? Then go watch one of my several free trainings at assertiveway.com/free. Because in those trainings, you're going to learn the skills that you need to speak up with confidence and without being rude. Like how to say no, how to express your ideas in meetings, how to express how you feel, how to ask for what you want, ask for that promotion that's due, deal with difficult people, difficult conversations, handle criticism, give thoughtful, constructive criticism to your team members or others, to self-promote without bragging, and much, much more. So these are the kind of skills that your parents, your teachers, your bosses may not have taught you, but that are going to make all the difference in the world in your career, in your relationships, and in your happiness. Trust me. So thank you once more, and go ahead and enjoy the day. Have a delightful, wonderful week.